First, we have to understand how are we navigating through this reality. I like to use a simple example of a fish swimming in a river. The river is always flowing in one direction. Now imagine one day the fish gets an idea that I want to change the flow of the river. I want the river to go that way. Can that happen? Can the fish change the flow of the river? It can't be done. But the fish is convinced he can do it. So what he does, he starts swimming in the opposite direction. The river is flowing one way, and the fish starts swimming in the opposite direction. I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to make the whole river go my way. The river will never change direction. So the fish keeps trying, because he doesn't accept that the river is going this way. He wants the river to go that way. So he keeps trying, and eventually he fails. The river won't move. So then what does he do? He blames the river. It's the river's fault. And this is how you and me live as well. We don't understand that the universe is going to do what it's going to do. Every day, we have our own fantasy about what we want the universe to do. So we want to change the direction of the whole universe. We think, no, this is the right way to live. This is the right thing. These things must happen. And when life doesn't go our way, what do? We blame. We blame God. We blame everyone else. But we don't blame ourselves for not understanding that the life was going to go this way in the first place. Life was always going to go in this direction. We just had a fantasy that life was going to go in the opposite direction. So because of our fantasy, we think it's okay to blame life. And then people get to the point where they decide that God doesn't exist because God hasn't given me what I want. This concept comes up very nicely in Sukhmani Sahib. Guru Arjan Dev Ji writes about how many things do you have in your life and how many things do you appreciate. Guruji talks in very simple language and starts by saying, Das Basathoo le Paashhai Paavai. You and me spend every moment thinking about all the things that we want to get. But the things that we get, we haven't even understood. Das Basathoo le Paashhai Paavai. The 10 things that you get in life, bear in mind these 10 things are just a metaphoric number. And Guruji is saying you get lots of things in your life and you just put them behind you. Eaek Kaaran Bikhott Gavaavai. But when there's one thing that you haven't got in your life, anything, mera ek kaam nahi hoya. When that thought comes into your mind that this has not happened in my life, then Bikhott Gavaavai. Then you lose your faith. How many times do you come to the Gurdwara? You maybe do an ardas, Maharaj, let me have this in my life. If it comes, changi gal hai. If it doesn't come, then you start questioning, how does this work? Why hasn't the Guru listened to me? We have people singing shabads like Jo mange Thaakur apne te soi soi deva. And we think that means whatever I ask, I'm going to get. You know, there's a children's story, Aladdin and the magic lamp. We've turned Waheguru into a magic genie. That all you have to do is stand up for 2 minutes. It's like you rubbing the magic lamp. And we expect Waheguru to come out and say, your wish is my command. That's what happens in the story. Aladdin, he finds a magic lamp. He rubs the lamp. A genie comes out. And the genie says, I'm going to grant you wishes. You're my master. Your wish is my command. The genie becomes the slave of Aladdin. And we think if we stand and do ardas, that Waheguru becomes our servant. and Waheguru has to give us whatever we want. Isn't this a fantasy? So Guruji wants us to think in a different way. So when you get 10 things in your life and you just forget about them, and the one thing that you don't get in your life, you start losing your faith. Laee. How can this happen? Guruji didn't listen to me. Waheguru doesn't listen to me. Then Guruji gives us a bit of an explanation how we should really start thinking. Eek bhi na de, das bhi hir le. You know that one thing that you didn't get? What about all those 10 things that you were given? Don't forget those. Guruji says, what if all of those 10 things were taken away from you? Everything that you were given in your life, that you forgot about, that you take for granted, what if all of them was taken away from you? What if your health was taken away from you? What if your body was taken away? What if your money, your house, your car, your family, your children were taken away from you? What if your own breath was taken away from you? To Moorraa, Kahu, Kaha Karaee. Then Guruji is being a parent to us and telling us off and saying, come on, foolish person, tell me. Then what are you going to do? What will you do? So we spend all of our time in the fantasy that I came up with an idea that life was supposed to go this way, and it didn't go my way, then I'm allowed to be angry at Waheguru. So we're living in a fantasy, because the thing was never in our hand, it was only in our mind. Whatever the idea was, even if it's a good idea, even if we think, I'm allowed to ask this thing because this is a good thing. Sometimes we think that I'm only asking for the health of my family. I'm only asking for the education of my children. These are good things. I'm allowed to ask for these things. No. Asking for anything is a fantasy in your mind. That's not what the Shabad means. Jo mange Thaakur apne te soi soi deva. That is a Shabad written by somebody in that avastha, that state of mind, and he says, Nanak das mukte jo bole iha uha sach hove. Guruji is saying that when you get to such a level, you are connected that whatever is coming out of your mouth is the words of Waheguru. That is the words of truth. That you are so connected that you're not worried about the false worldly things. You're connected at such a level, you're so in tune with this oneness of Waheguru that your words are Waheguru's words. That is the ultimate Sach. Mukte jo bole iha uha sach hove. Here and there, it's only the words of Sach. Those are the words of Sach that are coming out. At that level, whatever you say will come true. Not at our level. Because if we think Jo mange Thakur apne te soi soi deve, whatever you ask the Master you will get, then Sangat ji, all of us should be lottery winners today. Every single one of us should have won the lottery by now. Every single one of us should be millionaires by now. Because that's all what we want. We all want that. And we all think in our mind we're allowed to have that. Maybe other people get it or they don't get it, we're allowed to have it. So it doesn't work like that. That's not what Guruji is saying. Guruji isn't giving you a magic lamp. Waheguru isn't a magic genie. Whatever you ask for, you will get. That's not what it means. So the fish can't continue to blame the river. So Guruji is telling us, if you forget the one thing, if you think about the one thing that you didn't get, but you forget the 10 things that you got, what if everything gets taken away from you? Jis Thaakur syo Naahee Chaaraa, Thaa ko Keejai, sad namaskara. That one Waheguru, let's use the example of that river. That river that is never going to change because of you, all the fish can do is let go and say, okay, I submit to your power. The power of the river, of the current, is much stronger than the power of the small fish. And the power of us is much smaller than the power of the whole universe. That power, that master that is never going to go away, just Thakur syo Naahee Chaaraa, that force that cannot be moved, Tako Keejai sad namaskara. All you can do is bow down in humility and say, you are in control, I'm not in control. What control do you have? What control do I have? We learn about it in Japji Sahib. Akhan jor chupan hai jor, jor na mangan den na jor, jor na jeevan maran hai jor. We don't have the power to speak, to listen, to live, to die. Jis hath jor kar vikhe soy. The one who has the power, they're the ones that are doing it. Nanak uttam neech na koi. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, you and me are nothing. We might think someone has more money or they have more power, they're more influential. But in the eyes of the Guru, even presidents are nothing. Even if they think they have power, tell the president, can you control how many breaths you're going to have? What control do you have? Do you see, there's no presidents, there's no kings and queens, and we see ourselves as small. Guruji makes everyone level. Nanak uttam neech na koi. Why? Because it's like one fish looking at a bigger fish and saying, oh, you got so much power. But when you look at the river, then all the fish don't have any power. No point comparing ourselves to other fish in the river. Look at the power of the river itself.